Love incredibly tasty seafood? Welcome to Seafood 101, where we celebrate the journey from sea to market to table. For more than 100 years, Seattle has been the home of our commercial fishing industry and the North Pacific fishing fleet. Today, our industry has never been healthier. Seattle is the home of hundreds of fishing companies, shipyards, suppliers, and marine services. Fishing is the past, present, and future of the Pacific Northwest. If you love sustainably caught wild seafood, you've come to the right place. Visit PacificNorthwestSeafood101.com to check out all the delicious recipes, news, and upcoming events. Now here's what's on the menu for today's program. Welcome to Seafood 101. Hi, I'm Ken Saunderson with King County Maritime, and today I'm joined by Kevin Benner, who is the executive chef at Aqua by El Gaucho. Thanks for joining us, Chef Kevin.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, tell us a little bit about Aqua by El Gaucho.
Sure. We're a great seafood restaurant on Pier 70 in Seattle, right next to Sculpture Park on Alaskan Avenue.
Hey, how cool is it to be a chef in the Northwest where you have access to such incredible fresh seafood on really a daily basis?
Yeah, it's one of my favorite places to be. I've moved around a few places in the United States, and I've come back to the Northwest every time because the quality and it's just outstanding of anything you can get here. Mushrooms, seafood, even our red meats are great. But yeah, the produce here is amazing as well, and you have access to a lot of that right up at Pike Place Market as well. So it's like a walk to it.
That's amazing that you have such great access to all that fresh seafood, really on a year-round basis, right?
Right. Yep.
Hey, why do you have Bristol Bay salmon on your menu?
I find that the Bristol Bay salmon is the most consistent for me, especially if I'm trying to do something year-round as well with salmon. But it also is about the freshness and the quality that I purchase. So for me, it's just kind of a win-win there.
And Bristol Bay is really known for the high quality of its salmon, right?
Yeah, they are. So we sourced a lot of different places, a lot of different salmon, but Bristol Bay is one of the ones that I like to go back to.
You know, is there really a difference between wild caught and fresh or farm salmon?
Yeah, there is. There's a lot of great farmed fish these days. They do it the right way, sustainably, and a lot of it's open water, so it's kind of like they have their own little park per se. It's not necessarily in tanks, but you can't really compete with a fresh caught salmon as far as flavor and texture.
So there really is a difference about flavor and texture with the fresh salmon, the wild caught salmon.
Yeah, I think so. And we definitely serve a lot of salmon here. So
that's great. Hey, what's your favorite way to cook salmon?
Really, salmon is such a great versatile fish that I'm not too picky on how to cook it, but I love grilling it because I feel like the best salmon's in the summertime and you should be outside having fun, grilling salmon. So we do a lot of grilling here, especially on our live coals. So that's one of the best ways we do it here. You also can do a great pan sear, a blackened salmon. Again, it's super versatile fish. So either way is great.
Oh, that's great. What's your favorite way, a couple of cooking tips for people that are tuning in to want to learn more about how to cook salmon and or fillet of fish?
A lot of the time, the best way to do salmon is just give it a little bit of light oil, canola oil, a little bit of salt. You don't want to take away from the natural flavors of the salmon. Once you've got it oiled and salted, just put it right on the grill and grill mark it on one side and flip it right over, finish it up on the other side, and it's ready to go. You can also, like I said before, do a blackening seasoning, add a little spice to it, give it a good pan sear, and then finish it off in the oven with a little bit of butter. That's pretty great too.
Oh, that's great. Sounds delicious. You guys sell a lot of salmon down there, I bet.
Yeah, we go through quite a bit.
That's great. You know, with cooking a salmon, how long does it take usually when you're grilling it? Cook on one side and then flip it over?
It all really depends on how big the salmon is. Sometimes you can get an 18-pound salmon, which will give you about a 7.5-pound fillet, which could take, it doesn't take forever, but it could be a full 20 minutes maybe on your grill, depending on how hot that is too and what you want to do. But if you're going to pan sear a normal thickness fillet, it usually takes somewhere around, I'd say 8 to 10 minutes to finish. So it's pretty quick.
And, one of the things that I've always been a little bit concerned about is knowing when it's done. How do you know when the salmon is cooked?
Well, there's a lot of personal preference on how done you want your salmon. For me, I'm a little bit over medium rare kind of guy, so I'll take a fork and pull it back a little bit and see if the color is the right way I want on the inside of that fillet. Here at the restaurant, we do a lot of temperature checking. So we have our thermometers, which is a great way to do it. Bring it somewhere around 120 and you'll have a perfectly done salmon. But again, you can always use the eyeball test if you're at home. No one's judging you on the outcome of that fillet, I don't think, as far as visually. So check it, use your instinct on it.
And when you pull the salmon off the grill, do you allow it to rest, and does it heat up again some more after that?
Yeah, so you can pull it off the grill a little bit ahead of time, and that salmon will carry over as far as the cooking temperature goes. It's kind of like a really nice steak in that way. So it'll carry over about almost 3 to 5 degrees once you pull it off the grill, and it'll be ready to eat. The juice will stay inside of it once it's cooled down a little bit too, so it's always nice to let it rest.
Oh, that's great. Hey, when I'm at the store, what should I be looking for when I'm looking at salmon to buy?
Yeah.
How do I know it's fresh?
Well, a lot of times they'll definitely have to label you with if it's a wild, fresh caught salmon or if it's been previously frozen salmon. But there's a lot of great ways to check on that seafood. On top of that, I like to think people overcomplicate that a little bit. Use your instinct on it. Smell, text, the way the color of the fish and the firmness of the flesh is going to give you a great idea of how fresh that fish really is. So ask the person behind the counter to let you look at the fish and give it a good smell, and check the skin side too. Make sure the skin is nice and colorful. And if it's a whole salmon, check the eyes, make sure they're clear. And also, again, the firmness of the fish flesh itself. It should have a nice firm texture, no soft spots to it.
Oh, that's great. Some great tips there. Hey, any other tips on cooking seafood? What's your favorite thing to cook these days?
Oh, wow. Seafood's so fun. Just be adventurous. Go a little bit out of your comfort zone. Try and get something that you're maybe not familiar with. You really can't make that many mistakes. I mean, it's meant to be eaten. It's a great protein. So have fun with seafood. Some of my favorites these days, let's see, what's fun right now? I've kind of been into some king crabs lately just because they're a little bit out of my comfort zone at first. So I was playing with some of those this year, and I had a great time doing that. So yeah, again, I just encourage you to just try something different because you never know what you'll end up with, and it gives you some of that passion back for seafood as well.
You know, and that's one thing that I've always caught kind of in a trap is I go and I look for salmon or cod or just the normal sort of stuff, but I don't get out of my comfort level and look for things like ground fish and other kinds of unique seafood that you can get, or try different seafoods from around the world.
Right. Yeah, and you really should, because a lot of those lesser known seafoods can be easier on the pocketbook, but just as delicious as some of the more well-known ones, and also maybe a little more sustainable because they're not overfished or anything like that.
Well, I'm sure looking forward to my next meal down at Aqua by El Gaucho. Thanks, Chef Kevin, for joining us today on Seafood 101.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Hey, and I thank you all for watching today on Seafood 101, where we celebrate the journey from sea to market to table. Remember to hit the subscribe button to keep up on all the delicious recipes, shopping tips, cooking tips, and industry news. Until next time, cheers to great eating with seafood. Thank you for joining us for today's Seafood 101 program. Seafood 101 is sponsored by the Seattle Propeller Club with the Port of Seattle. It's presented by the Alaska Bering Sea Crabbers, Bristol Bay Regional Seafood Development Association, Freezer Longline Coalition, and the Groundfish Forum. Special thanks to National Fisherman Magazine and Pacific Marine Expo. Visit PacificNorthwestSeafood101.com to check out all the delicious recipes, news, and upcoming events. See you next time as we continue to celebrate the journey from sea to market to table. Cheers.